It wasn't a purely romantic decision to live on a barge. It was an affordable but beautiful way to live in central London. There's a really lovely community spirit on the canal. I'm from the coast in Wales. I think it's in our DNA to be close to water. People are usually delighted and surprised when they first step onto the barge. I think they find things sweet, and they probably also didn't realise that, they can look so homely. It's a wide beam barge and it's all pretty open plan. There's just a sitting room, kitchen and dining room, and then we've got the bedroom and bathroom. I feel like you have most of your home comforts living on the barge. You just have to be a little bit more organised, filling up with water in the morning, making sure you catch the diesel man when he's going past. Living on a barge makes you very resourceful. I started my design business a couple of years ago, and I really have Rita Konig to thank for the small successful start to it. I worked for Robert Kime in London. He massively informed everything I do in my career. I'd say my look is pretty granny chic. I really wish I was a bit cooler. My idea was to have a solid hull, but for all the interiors to be old, so hopefully it has a bit of charm of an older boat. The interior colour is almost throughout Farrow and Ball's arsenic green. This green just makes me really happy, and I think almost anything on top of it just sings. This is an old Gillow sofa, which is reupholstered by Ian Oliver, who makes everything super comfortable. I've been collecting antique fabrics for years now, and I love it because you can just get a small fragment of something and make it into something lovely. This is a 19th century Venetian silk. This is an African bole fabric from the Ivory Coast. The colours are perfect for me because I particularly love blue and green together. I love this rug. I bought it in the Atlas Mountains. It's a fluffy Berber rug, but I lay it on the reverse because I just think the colours are softer when the weave is flat. This is a peacock chair, which obviously is a completely impractical size for a boat, but they're so iconic. I just think they're so cool. This is a Welsh turner's chair. I love it because of the lovely carving. It's a 19th century one, but I think it cost me about 30 quid. I like the dining table in the centre of the room because it's close to the kitchen to feel part of the action when somebody's cooking, and it's next to the fire. The wood burner usually comes on in the autumn time, and it's also nice for heating the kettle as well. The tiles are a copy of Pugin tiles, which Robert Kime had in his fireplace. But I've got the poor man's version because I couldn't find enough original Pugin tiles, so I copied them. And then my little masks are just comedy and tragedy. I suppose it's a little bit unusual to find an Argo on a boat, but it's incredibly nifty because, as well as the cooking, it runs off the diesel engine and does the heating in the hot water. Probably the only bit of new kit on the boat. Because obviously boats are small, I didn't want a lot of cabinetry. I want it to feel as light as possible. That does mean that storage is a struggle, so everything is visible, which means that I like everything then to be pretty. So I like old copper pans and pretty porcelain and antique knives and forks. There's a very good reclamation yard in Devon where I got my old brass portholes and these cool passenger lights that came from a Mexican passenger ship in the 1950s. My favourite little treasure on the boat is this little collection of shipwrecked porcelain from the Hoi An hoard. It's probably lived for about 500 years under the sea. And this one I just love because it's so sweet and got little birds on. I like that the little galley kitchen is a part of the whole room, especially for parties and having friends over, because it feels like everybody's in the kitchen together then. So just walking through from the kitchen is probably a little bit of a surprise to find a tin bath. I think they're designed for dogs, but they're used by humans here. It would be nice to have a bigger bath, but you'd never be able to fill a nice big one because the hot water tank is so small. When I built the boat, there was no shower. This was the only way of washing. After a while, when I saved up a bit more dosh, then put the shower in afterwards. I've got some lovely modern British pictures that are sold by my friend Jeff Everson. And actually, these are really the colours of the landscape of Wales. And I'm glad to have a nice bit of campaign furniture on the boat. It's at home here. It was my grandfather's. I remember seeing it in his bedroom, and it was his grandfather's, so yeah, it's got a lot of memories. Box beds are very typical in canal boats. This one is bordered with mash arabia, which is something not original to me, something that Robert Kime used a lot that I really like. It just makes it so pretty and enchanting. And the good thing about it is that it provides a lot of storage underneath. I think my design aesthetic is pretty much my CV. It's everybody I've worked for, and every time you work for somebody else you pick up a little bit of their style too. It's Will and Charlotte from Jam, and definitely Robert with colours and textures. I think as you get older, your identity becomes increasingly important. Maybe I'd like a little crumbly cottage in Wales someday, but I just love London so much I can't see me going back anytime soon.